My beloved child, pause everything for a moment and listen with your spirit, not just your ears. This message is not appearing by accident, and December 29th is not an ordinary date for you. There is a divine interruption happening right now. Archangel Michael has been sent with urgency, carrying a critical message from God Himself. Time is compressed. The window is narrow. And what you choose to do after hearing this will determine how suddenly your path changes. Hear this clearly. God says your path is about to change suddenly. Not slowly. Not gradually. Suddenly. But this shift will not happen automatically. Heaven is waiting on your response. Only you can act in time. There has been a silent tension around your life lately. You may not be able to explain it, but you have felt it. A pressure in the spirit. That is because you are standing at a crossroads that was marked in heaven long before today. December 29th is a divine checkpoint. What you do here decides what opens next. Archangel Michael steps forward now as a warrior and protector, not to scare you, but to awaken you. He says, beloveds, the old route is closing. The familiar path you have walked, the one that drained you, delayed you, and confused you, is reaching its end. God is intervening because if you continue forward without adjustment, you will miss what was prepared for you in the next season. This is why this message feels intense. This is why it feels urgent. This is not entertainment. This is instruction. God says there is a sudden turn ahead, a turn that leads away from struggle and toward alignment. But sudden turns require awareness. If you are distracted, if you doubt, if you delay, you will keep walking past the very door meant to change everything. Archangel Michael is revealing that forces you cannot see have been actively trying to keep you busy, tired, and emotionally overwhelmed so you would ignore the signs. Notice how your energy hath been pulled in many directions lately. Notice how small issues felt heavier than they should. This was not random. It was resistance. But hear the good news. Resistance only shows up when destiny is near. God says, I am not changing your path to confuse you. I am changing it to protect you. There are places you were about to walk into that looked right but would have cost you peace later. There were people you trusted who could not go where you are being taken. This sudden shift is mercy, not loss. December 29th carries the energy of divine correction and acceleration at the same time. Correction removes what no longer fits. Acceleration pushes you forward once you agree. Heaven will not force you. Your free will is honored. That is why this message says, only you can act in time. Action does not always mean physical movement. Sometimes action is obedience. Sometimes it is letting go. Sometimes it is finally saying yes to what you have been resisting in your heart. Archangel Michael says you have been praying for clarity, but clarity comes after courage. God is waiting for your willingness before revealing the full picture. If He showed you everything now, fear would try to talk you out of it. The act for first. There is something specific God has already been nudging you about. A decision you keep postponing. A conversation you keep avoiding. A step you keep telling yourself you will take soon. Heaven says soon has reached its expiration date. This is not about punishment. This is about timing. The path that is opening will require you to move differently, think differently, and choose differently. But it will also feel lighter. You will notice peace replacing confusion, momentum replacing stagnation, answers replacing questions. Archangel Michael is standing guard over this transition. What tries to rise against you during this shift will not succeed. But you must move when prompted. Delayed obedience creates unnecessary battles. God says, I am about to redirect you in a way that will shock you, but it will also free you. Do not measure this shift by logic alone. Measure it by peace. If the next step scares your mind but calms your spirit, that is your confirmation. Pay attention over the next hours and days. Signs will repeat. Words will echo. Opportunities will appear unexpectedly. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. This message has reached you because you are capable of responding. You are not late. You are not behind. But you are being asked to choose. Archangel Michael's final words in this moment are clear. Do not ignore this. Do not minimize this. Do not hand this decision to tomorrow. December 29th is a doorway. Walk through it with awareness. What opens next will not look like your past. Your path is about to change suddenly. Heaven is ready. The question is, are you? My dear one, take a breath and let this sink deep into your spirit, because what unfolds now is the reason the urgency feels so heavy. Archangel Michael is not only announcing change, he is revealing why this moment cannot be delayed. God says the sudden shift coming is not random. It is strategic. It is designed to move you out of a hidden danger zone you did not even realize you were standing in. For a long time, you have been operating in survival mode. You learned how to cope, how to endure, how to keep going even when answers were missing. Heaven saw your faith, but heaven also saw your exhaustion. God says, you were never meant to live on maintenance mode. The path you are on has reached its limit. It cannot support the next version of you. Archangel Michael reveals that certain doors remained closed not because God said no, but because the timing was protecting you. If those doors had opened earlier, you would have stepped into blessings without the strength to sustain them. Now, strength has been built. Discernment hath been sharpened, and wisdom has been formed through what you survived. This is why December 29th carries such weight. It is not only about where you are going, it is about what you are finally leaving behind. Patterns that once felt normal will no longer feel comfortable. Conversations that once drained you will suddenly feel unbearable. This is not confusion. It is alignment activating. God says, I am shaking your routine so you can recognize what no longer fits. Pay attention to what is irritating you lately. Pay attention to what you no longer have patience for. These are signals that your spirit has outgrown old environments. Archangel Michael stands watch because transitions attract opposition. Not everyone will understand your shift. Some will question it. Some will resist it. But you are not called to explain what God has confirmed. Silence will protect you more than arguments ever could. You may notice an urge to withdraw, to simplify, to spend more time in stillness. This is not isolation. It is preparation. Before God moves you suddenly, He often quiets the noise so you can hear direction clearly. Do not fight this phase. God is also asking you to participate. Faith without action delays manifestation. There is something small but specific He is asking you to do. Reach out, release something, forgive, apply, begin, or end. It may not look dramatic, but it is the trigger. Heaven responds to obedience, not size. Archangel Michael says the enemy hoped you would dismiss this moment as just another message. But your spirit recognized truth immediately. That pull you felt when you heard the title. That was confirmation. This message found you because you are meant to move. Now hear this gently, but firmly. Do not walk this transition alone. God uses community, reminders, and shared faith to strengthen obedience. If this message is stirring something deep within you, let it be known. When you like this video, when you share it with someone who needs clarity, when you leave a comment declaring that you are ready, you are not engaging with content, you are aligning with a word. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, because messages like this are not random drops, they are part of a sequence. Join the community that is choosing awareness over distraction. And if your spirit feels stirred right now, let that be visible. Heaven responds to faith expressed, not faith hidden. Archangel Michael says there is acceleration coming after your response. Once you move, momentum will follow. You will notice delays lifting in areas that felt frozen. Conversations will shift. Doors will open unexpectedly. This is not coincidence. It is consequence. Be mindful of the next 48 hours. God often confirms obedience quickly when the timing is critical. Dreams may become vivid. Thoughts may repeat. Opportunities may appear suddenly. Do not overthink them. Peace is your compass. If at any moment doubt tries to creep in, remember this. God would not interrupt your day if this were not necessary. Archangel Michael would not deliver urgency without purpose. You are not being rushed into chaos. You are being guided out of stagnation. Before this message moves forward, pause with me here. Let your heart stay open, because what is coming next will connect the dots you have been questioning for a long time. Hold on. What unfolds next will bring clarity you did not expect, and it will make everything you have felt lately finally make sense. Precious soul, let your heart settle as this message deepens, because Archangel Michael is now revealing what has been hidden beneath the surface of your recent struggles. God says the confusion you felt was never a sign of failure. It was evidence that your spirit was standing between two realities. One was ending, and the other had not yet fully formed. Attention was not meant to break you. It was meant to wake you up. There is something important you must understand now. Not every delay was an attack. Some delays were divine restraint. God held you back because the environment ahead was not yet safe for your calling. If you had arrived earlier, you would have been misunderstood, mishandled, or misused. Now, alignment is catching up with assignment. Archangel Michael shows that certain spiritual permissions have just shifted in your favor. What once resisted you is losing authority. What once blocked you is being dismantled quietly. This is why the heaviness has started to lift, even if your situation has not fully changed yet. Heaven has already moved. Earth is about to catch up. God says, I had to change your path suddenly because gradual change would not have freed you. Slow movement would have kept you emotionally tied to what you were meant to leave. The sudden redirection is breaking unhealthy attachments, even the ones you did not realize were draining you. You may feel moments of grief for what is ending, even if it was painful. That is normal. Release does not mean something was meaningless. It means its assignment is complete. Honor the season, but do not return to it. Archangel Michael speaks clearly now. Do not go back to check what you already survived. Curiosity about the past will only delay your future. What God is preparing ahead requires your full attention, not divided loyalty. There is also warning wrapped in love. Do not announce this shift to everyone. Not all ears are safe. Some people will try to plant doubt, not because they are evil, but because they cannot understand a direction they have never walked. Let fruit speak later. For now, let obedience speak privately. God says your obedience on December 29th activated a countdown in the spirit. Certain blessings are time-sensitive, not because God is impatient, but because alignment requires precision. When heaven moves, it moves in order. Archangel Michael is guarding your mind during this phase. Anxiety will try to disguise itself as logic. Fear will try to sound like wisdom. But peace will be quiet and steady. Follow peace. Here is something being restored alongside this shift. Confidence. Not arrogance, but holy assurance. You will begin trusting your discernment again. You will stop second-guessing what you feel in your spirit. This is part of your preparation. God says, you are not behind. You are right on time. The enemy tried to convince you that you missed your moment. That was a lie. Your moment was waiting for you to become ready. As this message lands, something is unlocking. It may feel subtle, but it is real. A heaviness lifting. A resolve forming. A clarity settling in. This is confirmation. Now, respond in faith. Not because you need to convince God, but because your spirit needs agreement. This is your moment to mark this shift. Type "I receive the shift" in the comments if this message is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 2941 has just been released. Beloved, as this sudden shift unfolds, understand that God never releases revelation without also releasing responsibility. When you sow into this channel through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not supporting a video. You are helping light reach souls who are still standing in confusion. I hear the Lord say, as you pour oil, I will multiply it. This message is a seed, and your support becomes the water that carries it farther than we can see. I feel led to tell you directly, this is your moment to respond in obedience, not delay. What you release now opens rivers ahead. I bless every giver with divine acceleration and unexpected provision. Act now, and let heaven witness your faith in motion. Beloved one, as this message continues, allow your heart to remain open, because Archangel Michael is now drawing your attention to what happens after obedience begins. Many people believe the hardest part is deciding, but heaven reveals that the true test comes right after you say yes. This is the phase where movement feels quiet, yet everything is shifting underneath. God says, do not be alarmed if the change begins internally before it appears externally. Right now, heaven is rewiring your perspective. You may notice your reactions changing. Things that once triggered fear now feel distant. Situations that once demanded explanation now receive silence instead. This is maturity, not withdrawal. Archangel Michael explains that after a sudden redirection, God often removes emotional noise so you can walk steadily. Silence does not mean nothing is happening. In fact, silence is where alignment strengthens. Seeds grow underground long before they ever break the surface. There may be moments in this phase where you question whether you truly heard God. That is normal. Doubt often tries to sneak in when visible proof has not yet arrived. But hear this clearly, confirmation does not always come as evidence. Sometimes confirmation comes as peace that makes no logical sense. God says, if I showed you everything at once, you would rush. I am teaching you how to walk, not how to run ahead. This new path requires patience with purpose. You are not waiting aimlessly. You are being positioned carefully. Archangel Michael reveals that certain distractions are being removed deliberately. Plans may cancel unexpectedly. Conversations may fade. Doors you assumed were necessary may close without explanation. This is not loss. This is precision. God is narrowing your focus so your strength is not scattered. Be mindful during this time of what tries to pull you backward emotionally. Nostalgia can be a subtle trap. The enemy does not always tempt with something bad. Sometimes he tempts with something familiar. But familiarity is not destiny. God says, what I am leading you into cannot be sustained by old habits. This is why routines are shifting. Sleep patterns, priorities, and even desires may begin to change. You not resist this. Flow with it. Archangel Michael is also revealing that spiritual protection has increased around you. You may not see it, but you are being shielded from information, people, and situations that would only confuse you at this stage. Trust what is not happening just as much as what is. This season requires discernment more than speed. You do not need to announce your progress. You do not need external validation. What God is building now must be strengthened before it is displayed. There will be a moment soon where clarity drops suddenly, almost without effort. Something will click. A realization will form. And you will understand why things unfolded the way they did. When that moment comes, you will feel gratitude for delays you once resented. God says, I am teaching you to move by trust, not pressure. Pressure buoys. Trust leads. If something feels rushed, forced, to a chaotic pause, alignment feels firm, calm, and grounded, even when it is unfamiliar. Archangel Michael encourages you to guard your thoughts carefully in this phase. Your mind will try to replay old fears. Gently redirect it. You are not who you used to be. You are not operating from the same limitations anymore. You may also sense a growing courage within you. Not loud courage, but quiet resolve. The kind that does not argue. The kind that does not need to prove. This is the courage that carries you through unfamiliar territory without panic. God says, you asked me to lead you, and now let me. Surrender here is not weakness, it is wisdom. You are learning how to release control without losing direction. As this transition continues, do not rush to label it. Let it unfold. Let it breathe. What God is shaping is larger than one decision. It is a recalibration of your entire trajectory. Archangel Michael stands firm beside you, not pushing, not pulling, simply guarding. He reminds you that heaven does not abandon those it redirects. You are watched. You are covered. You are guided. Remain steady. Remain listening. Remain willing. What is forming now will soon become visible. And when it does, you will recognize it immediately, not because it looks impressive, but because it feels right. Beloved child, as this unfolding continues, Archangel Michael now draws your awareness to the inner realignment that is quietly taking place within you. This stage is subtle, but it is powerful. God says this is where many people become impatient and assume nothing is happening, yet heaven declares this is where foundations are strengthened. What is being built now must hold weight later. You may notice that your tolerance for compromise has decreased. Things you once allowed out of convenience now feel heavy. This is not judgment. It is discernment awakening. God is teaching you how to honor what He is building by protecting it early. What you permit determines what you carry forward. Archangel Michael reveals that your spirit has become more sensitive lately. You may feel drained faster around certain conversations or environments. This is not weakness. It is refinement. As your path shifts, your capacity for misalignment decreases. Your spirit is rejecting what it no longer needs to survive. God says, I am teaching you how to recognize peace quickly. You will no longer need excessive confirmation or outside validation. The signal will be clear. If it disturbs your peace, it is not aligned. If it steadies you, even when it challenges you, it is safe to move forward. This phase may feel lonely at times, not because you are being abandoned, but because your focus is narrowing. Wide roads allow many voices. The narrow paths require quiet. God is not isolating you. He is protecting your direction. Archangel Michael reminds you that silence is not emptiness. Silence is where God recalibrates motives. You may begin to question why you want certain things. This is holy introspection. God is purifying desire so that when blessings arrive, they do not become burdens. There is also healing happening beneath the surface. Old disappointments you thought you were over may rise briefly, not to hurt you again, but to finally release. God says, I am removing residue, not reopening wounds. Let tears come if they need to. Let forgiveness settle where bitterness once lived. You cannot carry old weight into new territory. You may sense a growing clarity about who you are and who you are not. Labels placed on you by past seasons are losing authority. You are no longer explaining yourself to be understood. This is identity strengthening. Archangel Michael is guarding your emotions carefully right now. Sudden emotional swings may try to disrupt your balance, but they will not succeed unless you attach meaning to them. Feelings are visitors, not leaders. Let them pass without building a narrative around them. God says, you are learning how to stand without bracing for impact. For a long time, you expected disappointment even when things were going well. That posture is shifting. You are beginning to trust stability again. Be patient with yourself during this stage. Growth does not always feel victorious. Sometimes it feels quiet, awkward, or incomplete. But every internal adjustment is preparing you to walk confidently when the external doors open. Archangel Michael also brings reassurance about timing. You have not missed anything. Nothing intended for you has bypassed you. God's calendar is intact. What is delayed for refinement, not denial. You may receive sudden insights during ordinary moments. A thought while resting. A realization while doing something simple. This is how God speaks when urgency has passed and clarity is needed. Pay attention without rushing to act. God says, you are not being tested to see if you will fail. You are being trained to see if you will trust. Trust grows in quiet spaces, not chaotic ones. This season is teaching you to listen before moving. There is also a strengthening of boundaries happening now. Saying no will become easier. Explaining less will feel natural. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship of your energy and assignment. Archangel Michael affirms that the protection around you remains firm. What tries to confuse you will lose momentum quickly. What tries to discourage you will not take root. You are becoming spiritually anchored. As you move forward, resist the urge to rush outcomes. Let things unfold at the pace God sets. Acceleration will come, but it will come cleanly, without strain. God says, I am preparing you for sustainability, not just success. What is coming must last. This is why the preparation feels intentional and thorough. Remain steady. Remain open. Remain obedient in small things. What God is forming now will soon require movement, and when that moment arrives, you will not hesitate. You will recognize it instantly, because your spirit will already be aligned with the direction heaven has prepared. My beloved one, as this message carries forward, Archangel Michael now turns your attention to the moment when preparation begins to meet movement. This is a delicate phase, because it is where many people mistake stillness for stagnation. God says, what feels quiet right now is actually precision. Heaven is aligning timing, people, and circumstances with accuracy you cannot yet see. You may notice that opportunities are beginning to appear subtly rather than dramatically. Small openings, gentle invitations, quiet nudges. This is intentional. God is watching how you respond to what does not demand urgency but requires discernment. Big doors are often preceded by small hinges. Archangel Michael reveals that your discernment has matured enough to handle choice. In earlier seasons, choices overwhelmed you because clarity was incomplete. Now, clarity is present, but confidence must catch up. God says, I trust you with this level of awareness. That is not a small statement. It means you are no longer being guided step by step out of danger, but being invited to walk with wisdom into promise. This phase may bring moments where two options look equally good. This is where peace, not logic, becomes your compass. The right path will not always be the one that looks safest on paper. It will be the one that aligns with who you are becoming. Archangel Michael cautions you gently not to rush explanations. When movement begins, the temptation is to justify every step to others. Resist that urge. God is not asking you to convince people. He is asking you to trust Him. Let your life speak when words cannot. You may also feel a growing urgency to act, paired with a strange calm. This combination is divine. Urgency without panic means timing is near. Calm without complacency means readiness is present. This is how alignment feels when fear no longer dominates. God says, do not wait for everything to feel perfect. Perfection is not a requirement for obedience. Willingness is. If you wait until all uncertainty disappears, you will delay movement unnecessarily. Faith is not the absence of questions. It is movement despite them. Archangel Michael also reveals that as you move closer to visible change, distractions will try one last time to pull your focus. Old habits may resurface briefly. Old voices may reappear unexpectedly. This is not regression. It is residue being cleared. Do not engage. Pass through without attachment. And now hear this carefully. God often confirms direction through repetition. If you are seeing the same themes, hearing the same confirmations, or feeling the same pull repeatedly, that is not coincidence. That is alignment speaking. Do not dismiss what keeps returning with peace. This is also a moment of shared faith. Heaven values agreement. When you publicly acknowledge what God is doing, you strengthen your resolve. If this message continues to resonate, let it be known. When you like this video, when you share it with someone who is also standing at a crossroads, when you leave a comment declaring that you are ready to move forward, you are not just engaging, you are activating agreement. Subscribe to this channel if you feel guided here, because these messages are part of a larger unfolding, not isolated moments. This space exists to help you recognize timing, not miss it. Join the community that chooses awareness over delay. Your participation matters more than you realize. Archangel Michael emphasizes that obedience grows stronger when it is reinforced. When you speak faith, hear faith, and surround yourself with alignment, movement becomes steady instead of shaky. This is why community is not optional in transitional seasons. As this phase continues, expect clarity to sharpen quickly. What once felt confusing will suddenly feel obvious. Decisions that took weeks will take minutes. This is acceleration, not pressure. It is the result of preparation meeting opportunity. God says, you are closer than you think. The distance between where you are and where you are going is shorter than it appears. Do not measure progress by visibility alone. Measure it by readiness. If at any point you feel tempted to disengage or step away from this message, pause. There is a reason your attention hath been held this long. Hold on just a little longer. What comes next will connect your preparation to your purpose in a way that brings undeniable clarity. Archangel Michael stands ready, not to push you forward, but to guard your next step. Heaven is attentive. Timing is aligning. And your willingness is being noted. Stay present. Stay receptive. The moment you have been preparing for is approaching, and when it arrives, you will recognize it not by noise, but by peace that confirms you are exactly where you are meant to be. Beloved soul, as this message unfolds further, Archangel Michael now draws your focus to the moment just before manifestation becomes visible. This is often the most misunderstood phase, because it feels like standing in between breaths. God says this is the space where trust is sealed. What you do here determines how smoothly the next chapter opens. You may feel a strange mixture of anticipation and stillness. Part of you senses movement is near, while another part feels suspended. Do not misinterpret this pause. This is not delay. This is calibration. Heaven is ensuring that when the door opens, you step through prepared rather than rushed. Archangel Michael reveals that in this phase, God often tests alignment rather than faith. Faith believes God can do it. Alignment ensures you are positioned to receive it. This is why certain thoughts, attitudes, and reactions are being gently corrected. God is not nitpicking. He is fine-tuning. You may notice that your prayers are becoming simpler. Less explanation. Fewer words. More trust. This is maturity. When trust deepens, prayer becomes agreement rather than persuasion. God says, I already know what you need. Now I am teaching you how to rest while I work. There may also be moments where impatience tries to disguise itself as motivation. Be careful here. Not every urge to move is divine. Archangel Michael advises you to check the fruit. Divine direction brings peace alongside action. Impatience brings restlessness and anxiety. Learn the difference and honor it. God is also shifting how you measure success. You are being trained to value obedience over outcome. This is critical because what is coming will require consistency, not constant excitement. If you only move when you feel inspired, you will struggle to sustain what God gives you. Stability is being formed now. Archangel Michael reminds you that unseen work is still work. Just because others cannot see what is happening does not mean progress is not being made. Heaven records preparation just as carefully as performance. Nothing in this season is wasted. You may experience a heightened awareness of time. Days may feel faster or slower than usual. This is a sign of transition. When God shifts seasons, our perception adjusts before our circumstances do. Let this remind you that something is changing, even if you cannot fully explain it yet. There is also a strengthening of discernment regarding people. You will begin to sense who can walk with you and who cannot. This does not mean judgment or rejection. It means clarity. Some people were assigned to previous seasons, not the one ahead. Release them with gratitude, not resentment. God says, you are learning how to walk forward without dragging the past behind you. This is essential. The next chapter requires freedom of movement. Emotional baggage will only slow what is meant to accelerate. Archangel Michael also speaks about confidence. Not loud confidence, but grounded confidence. The kind that does not seek approval. You will notice yourself hesitating less when making decisions. This is not recklessness. It is alignment becoming natural. Be aware that as you near visible breakthrough, doubt may try one final time to question whether you truly heard God. This is a common tactic. Do not entertain it. Return to peace. Return to what was confirmed repeatedly. Return to what brought clarity, not confusion. God says, I have not brought you this far to abandon you now. That reassurance is not poetic. It is factual. Every step so far has been intentional, even the ones you did not understand at the time. This is also a season of gratitude. Gratitude anchors you in truth. When you thank God for what is unfolding, even before it is fully visible, you declare trust. Gratitude keeps your heart soft while your spirit stays strong. Archangel Michael encourages you to guard your rest. Fatigue clouds discernment. Rest sharpens it. Do not confuse rest with laziness. Rest is obedience when God is the one who asked for it. You may feel a growing excitement that you hesitate to name out loud. That is okay. Some joys are meant to be held privately until the right moment. God does not require you to announce everything He is doing. He requires you to steward it well. As this phase nears completion, expect clarity to arrive suddenly. A conversation, an opportunity, a realization. When it comes, you will feel both surprise and recognition. Surprise because it arrived differently than expected. Recognition because your spirit will say, "This is it." God says, when the moment comes, do not hesitate. You will not need to overanalyze. You will not need to ask for endless confirmation. Peace will be present. That is your signal. Archangel Michael stands watch as this threshold approaches. Nothing meant for you will bypass you. Nothing meant to harm you will be permitted. You are being guided with precision. Remain attentive. Remain grounded. Remain willing. What is about to unfold will not only change your circumstances, it will confirm that this entire process was necessary. And when you look back, you will understand that this quiet, stretching phase was where your strength was sealed and your future secured. Beloved child, receive this gently, because Archangel Michael is now speaking about the unveiling phase. This is the moment when what was forming in silence begins to surface, not all at once, but deliberately. God says this is where many people become overwhelmed, not because they are unprepared, but because they underestimated how different the new path would feel. You may notice that your old ways of coping no longer work. Strategies that once helped you survive feel ineffective now. This is not failure. This is graduation. God is removing crutches you no longer need so you can walk freely. Dependence is shifting into trust. Archangel Michael reveals that as his ability increases, responsibility also increases. This is why God waited. You are not just stepping into something new. You are stepping into stewardship. What is opening now will require discernment, discipline, and consistency. But it will also bring fulfillment that struggle never could. You may feel exposed at times as if others can suddenly see you more clearly. This is not vulnerability without protection. This is positioning. God does not elevate what He does not cover. You are being seen because you are being trusted. God says, I am not asking you to become someone else. I'm asking you to be fully who I created you to be. There is relief in this truth. You no longer need to perform, prove, or pretend. Authenticity is becoming your strength. Archangel Michael cautions you not to romanticize the past during this stage. When new territory feels unfamiliar, the mind may try to idealize old seasons, forgetting the pain that came with them. Stay grounded in truth. You were called forward for a reason. This phase may bring an increase in spiritual awareness. You may sense things more quickly, discern motives faster, feel conviction sooner. This is not heaviness. This is clarity sharpening. With clarity comes responsibility to act wisely. God is also teaching you how to manage momentum. Not everything needs an immediate response. Not every opportunity requires a yes. Discernment is not about choosing what is good. It is about choosing what is aligned. Archangel Michael reminds you that the enemy does not need to stop you if he can rush you. Speed without discernment creates unnecessary wounds. Move forward, but move grounded. You may begin to see tangible confirmation that this shift was real. A door opening unexpectedly. A conversation aligning perfectly. A burden lifting suddenly. Do not minimize these moments. They are markers, reminding you that heaven has been active all along. God says, I am establishing you, not just blessing you. Establishment lasts. It builds. It holds weight. This is why the process was thorough. There may still be moments of uncertainty, but they will no longer paralyze you. Uncertainty will exist alongside confidence, not instead of it. This balance is maturity. Archangel Michael speaks reassurance now. You are not walking alone. Support will rise at the right moments. Guidance will appear when needed. You are not expected to figure everything out in advance. As this message continues, pause and acknowledge how far you have come. Not just externally, but internally. The fear that once dominated you no longer controls you. The confusion that once clouded you no longer defines you. That is progress. Now mark this moment. Let agreement be spoken. Type I step into alignment in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 6819 is now activated. Child of God, this unveiling is not just for your life. It is meant to awaken many. Your support through super thanks, membership, or PayPal becomes the oil that keeps this light burning. The Lord declares, those who water will themselves be watered. I feel led to tell you directly, this invitation is for you. Do not delay obedience. As you give, may God establish your steps and secure your path. Release your seed now, and watch heaven move swiftly on your behalf. Beloved one, as this message continues, Archangel Michael now speaks about stabilization, the phase that follows unveiling. Many people assume that once clarity arrives, everything immediately feels settled. But God says this is where grounding takes place. Revelation shows you where you are going. Stabilization teaches you how to stay there. You may notice that life begins to feel more real in this phase. Not dramatic, not mystical, but practical. Decisions matter more. Choices carry clear consequences. This is because you are no longer wandering. You are walking with intention. When direction is clear, responsibility increases naturally. Archangel Michael reveals that this stage is about learning how to live in alignment daily, not occasionally. It is one thing to receive a word. It is another thing to build a life that can sustain it. God is not interested in momentary breakthroughs that fade. He is establishing consistency. You may feel a desire to organize, simplify, or restructure areas of your life. This is not distraction. This is integration. What God has revealed spiritually must now be supported practically. Order creates capacity. When your environment aligns with your direction, movement becomes smoother. God says, I am teaching you how to steward peace. Peace is not passive. It must be protected. You will become more selective about where you invest your time, energy, and attention. This is wisdom, not withdrawal. Archangel Michael also speaks about patience in this phase. Even though clarity has arrived, not everything will move at the same speed. Some areas will accelerate quickly, while others will unfold gradually. Do not force uniform timing. Trust the process. You may encounter moments where old patterns try to reassert themselves, not with strength, but with familiarity. This is not failure. It is habit being replaced. Habits lose power when they are not fed. Simply choose differently and move forward. God says, you are learning how to respond instead of react. This is a major shift. Reaction is driven by emotion. Response is guided by discernment. You will notice pauses forming between stimulus and action. Those pauses are strength. Archangel Michael reassures you that mistakes made in this phase will not derail you. God is not watching for perfection. He is watching for posture. A teachable heart keeps you aligned even when adjustments are needed. There may be moments where progress feels slower than expected. This can be frustrating if you compare your journey to others. But comparison is no longer your measure. Alignment is. What God is building in you is specific, not generic. God says, I am anchoring you so you are not shaken by external shifts. Stability does not mean stagnation. It means rootedness. When storms come, rooted things remain. This phase also deepens discernment about purpose. You will begin to recognize what truly matters and what simply makes noise. Priorities will shift quietly. You will invest less in what drains you and more in what builds you. Archangel Michael reveals that as you stabilize, confidence becomes quieter but stronger. You will no longer need constant reassurance. You will trust what you know. This does not make you inflexible. It makes you grounded. You may also feel a renewed sense of responsibility toward your own growth. Waiting for motivation will feel insufficient. Discipline will feel empowering. This is maturity forming. God says, I am teaching you how to walk without leaning on old fears. Fear once kept you alert. Now it would only slow you. You are learning how to stay aware without being anxious. This stage also invites gratitude for the process. When you look back, you will begin to see how each phase served a purpose. Even the painful parts contributed to your discernment. Nothing was wasted. Archangel Michael encourages you to remain attentive, not anxious. Awareness keeps you aligned. Anxiety pulls you off center. Trust the pace God has set. You may sense that you are no longer chasing clarity. You are living from it. Decisions flow more naturally. Thou has less authority. This is the fruit of alignment. God says, I am not rushing you because I am securing you. What is secure lasts. What is white cracks under pressure. This season is building endurance. A stabilization continues. Expect your confidence to be tested gently, not to weaken you, but to strengthen your footing. Each choice you make in alignment reinforces your direction. Archangel Michael stands firm, reminding you that this journey is not linear. There will be moments of acceleration and moments of reinforcement. Both are necessary. Remain steady. Remain teachable. Remain present. You are no longer standing at the edge. You are walking the path. And as you continue, you will discover that what once felt unfamiliar is becoming home. Beloved child, as this message moves deeper, Archangel Michael now speaks about momentum and responsibility, the stage where alignment begins to carry visible weight. God says this is where many people feel surprised because the path ahead does not feel as dramatic as they imagine. Instead, it feels real. Purpose stops being an idea and starts becoming a lifestyle. You may notice that people begin responding to you differently. Not because you changed your personality, but because your presence carries clarity now. When alignment settles, confusion no longer surrounds you. This does not mean everyone will understand you, but it does mean you will stop needing to be understood. Archangel Michael reveals that this phase requires consistency more than inspiration. Inspiration ignites movement, but consistency sustains it. God is teaching you how to show up even when emotions fluctuate. This is not heaviness. This is strength. There will be moments where you realize that what you once prayed for now requires effort to maintain. This is not a burden. This is stewardship. Blessings are not meant to oppress you. They are meant to be managed wisely. God says, I am trusting you with growth. Growth stretches capacity. It asks you to expand routines, refine priorities, and take responsibility for your choices. This is why preparation mattered so much. You are not being overwhelmed. You are being entrusted. Archangel Michael cautions against looking back for validation. When momentum builds, the temptation is to seek approval from people who once doubted you. Resist this. Your confirmation does not come from applause, it comes from peace. You may also feel moments of fatigue that surprise you. Not because you are doing too much, but because you are doing something meaningful. Purpose carries weight. This is why rest remains important. God does not reward burnout. He honors balance. God says, learn to pace what I have given you. Speed without wisdom drains joy. Pace preserves it. You are allowed to move forward steadily without proving anything. This phase will also test boundaries. As your life becomes more aligned, distractions may appear disguised as opportunities. Not everything that looks good belongs to you. Discernment must remain active. Archangel Michael reminds you that saying no to the wrong thing protects your yes to the right thing. You will notice that decision-making becomes more frequent. Small choices add up. This is where discipline replaces hesitation. You are no longer waiting for signs, you are walking with awareness. God says, you are no longer preparing to begin. You have begun. That realization may feel sobering, but it is also empowering. You are capable. You are equipped. You are not guessing anymore. And I'll hear this clearly. Momentum strengthens when it is shared. Agreement amplifies clarity. If this message continues to align with what you are experiencing, let it be expressed. When you like this video, you are not just supporting content, you are marking resonance. When you share it, you become a messenger for someone else who is standing where you once stood. When you leave a comment declaring your readiness, you solidify your intention. Subscribe to this channel if these messages have been guiding you, because this journey does not unfold in isolation. Join the community that values timing, discernment, and obedience. This space exists to keep you aligned, not distracted. Archangel Michael emphasizes that consistency grows stronger when faith is reinforced regularly. Surrounding yourself with reminders of truth keeps momentum clean and focused. There may be moments ahead where you question whether progress is fast enough. Do not fall into that trap. Growth that lasts rarely rushes. God is more interested in depth than display. God says, I am shaping endurance in you. Endurance allows you to walk long distances without losing joy. This is essential for what is ahead. You may also notice a shift in how you define success. External recognition matters less. Internal peace matters more. This is not settling. This is clarity. Archangel Michael reassures you that you are not meant to carry everything alone. Help will appear when needed. Support will rise at the right time. Trust the process without isolating yourself. As this phase continues, remain attentive to your inner compass. When something feels misaligned, pause. When something feels steady, proceed. You are learning how to navigate without fear. Hold on for what comes next. What is about to be revealed will connect momentum with meaning in a way that strengthens your resolve and confirms that this path was not only chosen, but sustained by heaven. Stay present. Stay grounded. This is where alignment becomes lifestyle, and obedience begins to produce lasting fruit. Beloved one, as this message moves closer to its completion, Archangel Michael now speaks about confirmation and sealing. This is the stage where God does not just guide you forward, but anchors what has already been built. God says this is where many finally realize that the shift was not temporary, it was permanent. You are not visiting a new path. You are living on it now. You may notice a deeper sense of calm settling into your decisions. Even when challenges arise, they no longer shake your identity. Problems feel solvable instead of overwhelming. This is not because life became easier, but because you became steadier. Stability has taken root. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven is now watching how you respond under pressure, not to test you, but to confirm your readiness. Pressure exposes alignment. When your reactions remain grounded, it is evidence that transformation has truly occurred. God says, "I am sealing what I started." Sealing means protection. It means what was fragile is now fortified. The lessons you learned are no longer theoretical. They are integrated into who you are. You are not trying to remember what God taught you. You are living it naturally. You may feel a growing sense of responsibility for your own spiritual posture. External motivation matters less now. You do not need constant reminders to stay aligned. Discipline has become internal. This is maturity. Archangel Michael also speaks about authority. Quiet authority. The kind that does not announce itself. People may begin to seek your perspective, not because you have all the answers, but because your presence carries clarity. This is influence rooted in alignment, not ego. There may still be moments when fear attempts to resurface, especially when you step into unfamiliar territory. But fear will no longer lead. It may speak, but it will not decide. God says, "You have learned how to walk forward even when your hands tremble." This phase also brings discernment about timing. You will sense when to act and when to wait without anxiety. Waiting no longer feels like punishment. It feels purposeful. Action no longer feels reckless. It feels intentional. Archangel Michael reassures you that what has been sealed cannot be undone by doubt. Even if you have moments of weakness, the foundation remains. Growth does not reverse easily once it is rooted. You may reflect on who you were at the beginning of this journey and barely recognize that version of yourself. This is not loss. This is evolution. Honor who you were without returning there. God says, "I did not change your path to confuse you. I changed it to free you." Freedom does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like quiet confidence. Sometimes it feels like peace without explanation. This stage also brings gratitude for protection you did not see at the time. You will begin to recognize moments where things falling apart actually saved you, where delays redirected you, where endings preserved you. Understanding replaces resentment. Archangel Michael encourages you to remain humble, not because you are unsure, but because humility keeps alignment clean. Pride hardens. Humility sharpens. You may notice that you are less reactive to others' opinions now. Praise does not inflate you. Criticism does not deflate you. This balance is rare, and it is a sign of internal security. God says, "You are no longer searching for permission. You have learned how to listen and move." This does not make you independent of God. It makes you deeply connected to Him. As this sealing continues, expect clarity to deepen rather than fluctuate. Even when answers are delaying, peace remains. That peace is your evidence. Archangel Michael also speaks about endurance. The path ahead will require consistency, not intensity. You are being prepared to walk long distances without burning out. This is why pacing mattered so much. There may be moments where you are tempted to look back and measure how far you have come. That is fine, as long as it fuels gratitude, not pride. Let remembrance strengthen faith, not replace it. God says, I am establishing you for longevity. What you are stepping into is not seasonal. It is sustainable. It will require ongoing discernment, but it will also provide ongoing fulfillment. As you move forward, trust that heaven remains involved. Guidance does not stop once alignment is achieved. It becomes more subtle, more relational, less urgent. You are no longer being redirected constantly. You are being accompanied. Archangel Michael stands firm as this chapter nears its final seal. You are not unfinished. You are not unstable. You are not uncertain. You are grounded. Remain attentive. Remain faithful. Remain humble. What comes next will not shock you the way the initial shift did. It will feel right, familiar in a new way, and you will recognize that this entire journey was not about changing where you stand, but about changing how you walk. You are ready. My beloved child, receive this final word with stillness in your spirit, because Archangel Michael now speaks of completion, commissioning, and continuation. This is not an ending in the sense of closure. It is an ending in the sense of fulfillment. God says this moment seals the shift and releases you forward with clarity, authority, and peace. You are no longer standing at the threshold. You have crossed it. The reason things feel quieter now is because chaos no longer has permission to guide you. Noise was replaced with knowing. Confusion was replaced with discernment. The fear was replaced with trust. This is what alignment looks like when it settles fully. Archangel Michael declares that what God redirected you from will no longer call you back with power. The pull is broken. The cycle is closed. You may remember the past, but it no longer defines your movement. You are not fighting old battles because you are no longer standing on old ground. God says, I have marked you for this path. Marking means recognition in the spirit. It means doors will respond differently to you now. Conversations will shift. Resistance will weaken. Not because you are striving harder, but because you are walking in agreement. You may notice that your prayers are answered differently now. Less striding, more flow, less bleeding, more partnership. This is because you are no longer asking God to override your direction. You are walking within it. Archangel Michael reveals that from this point forward, correction will be gentle instead of forceful. God no longer needs to block you grammatically to get your attention. A whisper will be enough. This is the reward of obedience. Guidance becomes relational instead of urgent. There will still be challenges ahead, but they will not shake your identity. Difficulty no longer means doubt. It means growth. You are no longer interpreting resistance as rejection. You understand now that resistance often confirms relevance. God says, I trust you with what I have shown you. That trust is not given lightly. It was earned through surrender, patience, and courage. You did not rush this process. You endured it. Archangel Michael affirms that you are now walking with spiritual authority, not because you know everything, but because you are grounded in truth. Authority is not loud. It is stable, and stability carries weight. As you continue forward, remain attentive but not anxious. Remain confident but not proud. Remain open but discerning. Balance is your protection. There will be moments when you are tempted to underestimate what God has done in you because it unfolded quietly. Do not make that mistake. Quiet transformations last longer than dramatic ones. You are change at the root, not just the surface. God says, you are no longer becoming. You are being. This does not mean growth stops. It means identity has settled. You are moving from formation into function. Archangel Michael stands beside you now, not as a messenger of warning, but as a guardian of what has been established. The path ahead is not hidden. It is unfolding step by step, with grace meeting you at each one. Take a moment to acknowledge this completion, not with noise but with agreement. Type "I walk in divine alignment" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 9047 is now activated. Beloved, as this journey seals and your path stands clear, hear this as a direct invitation from the Spirit. This word was released so lives could shift in time, and your obedience now helps that light reach souls still waiting for clarity. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not supporting a channel. You are sowing into divine timing for others. The Lord says, "What you place in my hands, I will multiply and guard." I am speaking to you personally. This is your prophetic response moment. As you release your seed, may heaven release favor, protection, and acceleration over your life. Act now. Obedience completes the circuit.